All right, hello and welcome to Data Driven Sim Racing. Today I'm just going to be capturing some data for my upcoming data streams. So I've been collecting quite a bit of data using the Porsche 911, GT3R, and Assetto Corsa Competizione, and I've also been collecting a lot of data in Automobilista 2 using random and various cars. In ACC, I'm really only comfortable with the Porsche, so that's the one I've been using mostly. But in today's session, we're going to be at Laguna Seca again. I just did a session yesterday with Automobilista at Laguna Seca, and today we're going to be doing the same thing, but with the Porsche 911 GT3 and in Assetto Corsa Competizione instead of Automobilista. So it's a track I'm fairly comfortable in, but I don't think I've ever done this exact combination of this car and this track in this game. So we are going to be testing our different setups. So the first setup will be the standard setup that comes with the game. And then after that, I'll be running the setup I got from GoSetups. So at the end, hopefully what we'll have, there's the Porsche I'll be running. However, hopefully we'll get some good data. And I was actually just messing around with sector times and lap times, and I was able to come up with a few visuals that I'd like to build for ACC data as well. This is built using my session yesterday with a Porsche 911 GT1 at Laguna Seca, but today I'd like to build it with the ACC data. And so I went on the FAQ, or the tutorial section of the SimRacing Telemetry website, and I got a little bit of unit conversion data. And I also went on the Power BI community and found that someone had converted milliseconds to seconds. So I kind of ransacked that formula and made it a little bit of my own. And so we have the seconds data that comes from the telemetry data. We converted that to milliseconds, which is the second column here. And then we converted the milliseconds over to lap time. And so I will show what that looks like in a bit after I collect some data. But then we also got some lap times on the graph that we can see here. Maximum lap times basically throughout the course of our race. And then we also have right here max throttle and max brake throughout the laps. However, if you use this table or even this graph as a filter, what I can do is actually filter on lap 3. Hey, thanks for following Howard25. How's it going? Hope you're well. Happy old year, I guess. Happy New Year as well. So if I filter here, I can see lap 2 is right here, where I have an average of 70% throttle, average brake of 14%, but my graph up top changes to represent just that lap. And you can actually see how those filters apply because there's only one dot here, and that's my lap time of 121 for lap 2. I can also hold control down and select multiple laps. So if I only want to see lap 2, and then let's say I want to see lap 6 because I'm fairly close in time, then I can see just laps 2 and 6. And I can keep holding control and just keep selecting laps down here on the grid, and it acts as a bit of a filter. So I can see all the differences and I can see the similarities as well. If I remove that, I just see the entire race as a whole. But if I filter, I can see specific laps or just one lap. I can also do that by filtering here. So if I want to select just a couple laps in this chart, don't move it. I can only do that when it's actually pushed out. So let me try to find it in the browser right here. Okay, so if I go over here and I want to select just a portion of my race, for example, laps, let's hover over this, laps 3, 4, and 5. I can actually do that by just creating a little box around laps 3, 4, and 5, and suddenly all of my data is filtered by just those laps. So that's a pretty interesting way that you can use Power BI. And again, you can do this on your laptop, you can do this on your iPad, on your iPhone or Android phone if you'd like. If you're an Android person, that's cool too. yesterday, during yesterday's session, we had actually configured these charts here, which showed things like G-force, tire temperature, average throttle by lap, and brake temperature by lap as well. So today, we're going to be running some sessions in ACC, and we're going to be collecting some data from standard setup and also my GoSetups setup for Laguna Seca. And then we're going to be putting both of those into Power BI and possibly running a race as well. Haven't decided if I'm going to run a 15-minute race or not, but if I have enough time or if I'm feeling up to it, I will do so. The last time we tried this, we had a bit of a interesting session in which I really just was not ready for how much of a drastic change it was going to be. It was at Spa, if I remember correctly, and the setup just really kicked my butt, and I wasn't able to take full advantage of the car. I had to be quite delicate in the throttle and brake inputs. So we'll see if today's any different. Hopefully, I feel a little bit more at home at Laguna Seca, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so we're gonna switch over to our ACC screen and let's hop into the game and see how it goes. All right, so we are in hot lap. We are at Laguna Seca and we have the Porsche. This time, I'll try to remember, if I do a race, I'll try to remember to not put the qualifying setup on, because last time I put the qualifying setup on and I ran out of fuel lap like 2. So I had to basically pit the entire race. It was pretty bad. So hopefully this time it'll be a lot smoother. Okay, so we're going to check our setup. And the setup is the standard setup. So we're going to actually save that as standard setup. And we'll save it. And I can't forget the most important part, actually. I'm going to hop back out over here. Can't forget the most important thing, which is to set up our SimRacing telemetry. So here's my Automobilista session. I'm going to back out and go all the way to the main menu, and I'll turn on the ACC one instead, and then I'll record a new session. And I'm going to hit start, and it's connected. So I'm going to hop back over to ACC, and let's get about 5 or 6 laps in with our standard setup, and then we'll turn on our GoSetups setup. All right, let's see here. Gotta check on some settings first. Let's see if we can turn everything on. There we are. All right, and let's see if we can get a couple laps in. Let's hop it. All right, we're gonna try to take it easy in this first out lap, just to warm everything up. And again, I don't think I've raced this particular track and car combo in this game. I might be a little bit rusty here. We're just going to try to take it a little bit easy in this lap.
SimRacing. Air temp is now 30. Track temperature is now 37 Celsius.
Every time I hear one of those announcements of air temperature and track temperature, all I can really think is that's great for my data. Not so great for my driving. In case you're not aware, air temperature, track temperature, and all that stuff has a very, very big impact on your actual race in ACC. So those drastic changes will actually change the behavior of your car and your race, and either help you or ruin your session, one of the two. And of course, we're off the track, and I think this next lap's going to be invalidated as well. So that's no fun. Let's try to get a clean lap in at least. Gonna try to take it easy again. From the looks of it, this lap may not have been invalidated by that debacle that happened in the last corner. So this might actually be a valid lap. That would be interesting for sure. And of course I go and invalidate it now. That was a mistake. Yes, I will do so. Came in a little hot. I didn't prime my braking line or my braking point there. It was very different in the Porsche GT1 that I was in yesterday. I was braking at the very top of the crest, and here you just can't do it with this one. Let's see if we can get a better lap. And of course I started off. Absolute garbage. And even more garbage. Let's see if we can manage a good braking point here. Oops, that was too soon, but at least I'm staying inside the track. Just kept it inside. Definitely not a good lap, but I'll take it. At least it was valid.
1:13.46. That's your best lap in this session.
It's my only good lap for this session. And I appreciate the enthusiasm there, Jim.
Sector 1 time is good.
Compared to my last one, I guess it is. Oh, almost lost it out there. This is just a car that stops taking inputs. After it's decided that it's done taking input from you, it will just do what it wants to do.
Sector
you
2
have
is
to
a
get
10th off
everything
your best.
right almost before the corner. Oh, that. Maybe I should stop
This
talking.
lap will be invalidated. Watch the track limits.
Yeah, thanks for that. You have to do everything almost perfectly before the corner. There's almost no room to correct or make a split-second decision. Once you're committed to the corner, you have to commit, and that's about it. So it involves a lot of planning, unfortunately, which I don't have the time or patience for. Okay, let's see how we do now. We are in lap 4, so we'll do 1 or 2 more, and then we'll pull the data. Maybe 2 or 3 more. So far, I only have
Mind
1
these track
good lap
limits,
in.
please, Andreas.
Yes, Dave. Laguna Seca is just not being good to me today. Or I'm just terrible. One of the two. Probably the latter. Okay. Let's see if we can get a clean exit and stop on it or a straight. I'm trying to practice my trail braking, but this is not a car that likes to allow you to practice much of anything.
Sector 1 is quick.
That's good. Hopefully we can get a smooth lap. I hesitated a little bit there. That wasn't a very smart thing to do with this car. Brake. Stay in. There we go. Will we get a smooth lap this time? Or at least smoother than we have been? Oh, please, no. Oh, God.
Track limits.
That last corner, ever since I was a kid, playing like Gran Turismo, the original Gran Turismo, or maybe it was Gran Turismo 2 that had it. That last corner was always my least favorite. I need to get one solid lap in, and this doesn't look like it's it, but I'll try my best. About half a second up, which is good. Let's see if we can keep that.
Sector 2 time is good.
Come on, 911. Oh, we're sliding. Oh, there we go. Alright, we're braking early. I need to get this lap in. There we go. 1.3 seconds up. That's not bad at all. We'll do one more lap, see if we can get a slight improvement
Sector 3 times okay.
before we switch over to our new setup. Nope, that's not going to be an improvement.
Sector 1 is 0.32 off your best.
And that was terrible. Alright. I don't think we're going to improve on this one. But we will definitely try. Let's see how we perform here in Sector 3.
Sector 2 time is quick.
Okay, we're still half a second up. And we lost all of that advantage. But still half a second up. Okay.
You've just
Alright,
done
I will take that.
1.66.
Let's pull over to a safe location. And we will back out. Alright. So now we're going to go ahead and just quit. We'll switch over to SimRacing Telemetry. And we will stop our session. Just to have it here. So there's that time attack. Now we're going to record a new session. And it's recording. So now we're going to hop right back in. And then load our Go Racing setup session. So we'll go to setup. And we will load or save. Okay, and the one we want is not the E, because those are for experts. And I am no expert. I want a safe setup. And you can either do the qualifying or the race. We're going to go ahead and do the qualifying. It seems to be the one that's meant for hot lapping the most. The race setup is what we want when we go racing, because we do not want to run out of fuel. Alright, so that is now set up there. And we will head back onto the track. Let's give it a shot. Hopefully I'll be able to tell a quick difference. The last 2 times have already been that way, where I can tell a difference within the first lap in the first few corners. So we'll see if this is any different. Alright, let's give it a go. Already it just, and I don't know how they do, but it feels great. It was a very tight corner that it just took, and took it just fine. Again, something that these setups do is inspire sometimes way too much confidence in very average drivers like myself. So I have to be careful. Everything is just so much tighter and so much more accurate. Even though I'm taking it really easy, I seem to be having really no problem keeping up with the ghost of my fastest lap, which was my last. As long as I don't mess something up, I might even be able to beat it. Alright, let's see. I'm gonna go for it this lap and see how we do.
That lap time was 1:28.62.
I feel like I'm losing a lot of time in that first corner there. I'm braking way too early. And I should be waiting until almost the last moment to brake. I'm braking as I'm going downhill. That was a bit of a mistake there. Hopefully not too costly. Same there. Just giving it a little bit too much throttle as I go in. And just the setup alone, really minimal effort on my part. I was still trying to take it easy. Just the setup alone gives you about a second in lap time. That's just bananas. I mean, I'm even sloppy right now, and I'm still pretty close to my fast time.
Slower than your best.
This is pretty crazy how these setups help. And maybe not.
Watch the track limits.
Nothing to see
please,
here.
Andreas.
Okay, let's get set up for our next lap. Because we threw that one in the bin. Let's give it a go. Still too much braking and too early. I'll try to get better at that one. And I'm missing my braking point completely here. That was a bit distracting. Almost lost it there as well.
Sector 2 time is okay.
Let's see if we can get a better lap with this next one.
Your lap time was 1:28.27. That puts you 0.8 off your best.
Starting off terribly. That's a good sign. continuing terribly.
Sector 1 is 2/10 off your best.
But we are catching up to our fastest time. So I may be able to just do something a little brave and get a better time. Like go slightly deeper into a corner, come off the brake a little sooner, get on the throttle a little sooner, that type of thing. No, missed completely.
You're outside
What
of track
was
limits
that
there.
about? Oh no. Let's try to focus on getting a good exit here. Nope, we almost slipped there. That was a little scary. Wow. We just caught something. Pretty sure it was a curb. I'll have to watch the replay on that. That was disappointing. Sector 1 was pretty good though, so might be able to get some advantages there. I still hear some gravel on my tires, so I haven't kicked it completely. Hopefully it doesn't affect my next lap too much. Let's find out. Looks like I'm dead even with
Sector 1 time's okay.
my fastest time. Actually, that's not bad.
Sector 2 time was good.
Almost slipped there. It's so easy for something to just go terribly wrong. Alright, that was a better lap. Let's see if we can do even better.
That lap was a 1:27.30. Sector 3 time is fast.
We went airborne there, I'm pretty sure. Alright, that's 7 laps. I think we're okay. Let's pull some data and see if we can get it into Power BI. think I have to save that replay though, because that last bit where I was airborne was pretty interesting. Let's see if I can find it actually. I was closer to lap 8. I think it's right here. Yeah, all 4 wheels. Super. I knew I wasn't going to recover from that, so let's go ahead and save that replay. And now we can quit. All right, so let's make sure our data loads into Power BI, and let's see if we can knock out a couple visuals. And if we can, then I'll go back in and do a race as well, because I like the race position to change as well. With the qualifying, it doesn't change very much. Okay, so let's head back into Power BI, and this isn't the one that we're looking for. If I see the Automobilista logo, it means I have the wrong version of the report open. I want to open one that has ACC on it. The reason is that the data from Automobilista looks very different from the one from ACC. So if I do import it into an Automobilista report, I'll have to change a couple things around and stuff like that. So I really just don't want to. What I am going to do though is save a couple of these formulas. So this formula here is the one that I got from the Fabric community, the Microsoft Fabric community, and that takes seconds to milliseconds. Actually, no, it doesn't do that. This one takes seconds to milliseconds right here, and this one's actually one that I just made up where I multiplied it by 1,000 and we have milliseconds. But then once I have my milliseconds, what I do see is this formula here, which is from the Fabric community, and that takes the milliseconds to an hour, minute, second, or just a minute, second. This one takes it hour, minute, second. So this is the formula I was able to use right here in this grid to get the minutes, seconds, and then milliseconds. And then also I was able to use it as a label, as a custom label here. So what I'm going to do is just leave this version of Power BI open, even though it's wrong to report. And I'm just going to open a new instance of Power BI. The cool thing about this is that you're actually able to copy stuff. Like you can copy visuals from one Power BI report to another if you really want to. And sometimes I really want to. Okay, so here was our last session at ACC with SPA, and this was a setup analysis. So I'm going to open that. And I think I have everything I need here. Actually, let me just open the latest one, which was the one where I ran out of fuel. This one, out of fuel. Okay, so this one I know was the very last one that I worked on. So I will go ahead and open this one. However, I want to save it as something else. I don't want to mess up this version of the report. I want to save it as something else. So I'm going to say instead of Spa, it's going to be Laguna Seca. Oh, got my caps on there. So this is not a race, it's just a hot lap. And this is standard setup. We're going to do standard setup first. We have SimRacing Telemetry, Porsche 911 GT3R, Laguna Seca, setup analysis for our hot lap. And we will save it. Okay, so first things first, just like always, we're just going to replace our data over here on the right, because the formatting and everything we have about the report we like, we just want the formatting to be different. So we will edit this query. And we're going to switch to our files. But we need to download our files first. Here are our two files. First, I'm going to download the standard setup. So I'm going to share that to CSV and export it to CSV. It's going to ask us which file we want to save it to. We're just going to create a brand new file. So we're going to choose an ACC file to get our naming convention from. And we're going to say that's ACC at Laguna Seca instead of Spa. For a hot lap with the standard setup, and today is the 31st. So we'll save that. Once it lets us save. Or not. Maybe it's just not happy with us. Let's try that again. Export to CSV. And we're going to save it as this one here. Let's put on some chill music here while we wait. Okay, so let's see if it will let us save it this time. 31st instead of the 29th. We went to Laguna Seca instead of Spa. So let's see. Save it right here. There we go. Just had to close it and open it again and it was fine. And now I'm going to also save our GoSetups setup, where our fastest lap was 127.3. So I'll export that to CSV. And we will say GoSetups here. It's just crazy how just a few clicks can completely change your performance. I owe at least 1 second to that GoSetup. That's pretty crazy. 1.3 seconds or so shaved off my lap time almost instantly. That's pretty cool. Okay, so back in Power BI, we're going to go find the source of our document. So I'm going to close that and do that again. Here's our data that we have off to the right from our last session at Spa. I'm going to right click that and say edit query. And here I can see the file it was using. If I click on source, I can see that it was using this file here. So what I'm going to do, let's open it up to make it a little bit easier. What I'm going to do is change this to use our latest file. And our latest file is the standard setup. So I'm going to replace this here. Oh, come on. There we go. And I'm going to delete that all the way to the folder, paste that, and hit the check mark, and it should load Porsche 911 GTR or GT3R and Laguna Seca right here. Then I'll just make sure my promoted headers step comes up, and what you see from promoted headers, it looks like a simple one, but really what it's doing is saying, hey, row 1, where the CSV file has row for row 1, I want all of those to be actually the column names or the header names for the columns. So that's why they get promoted up here. Then I'm going to go change this name here to Laguna Seca instead. And change this from race to hot lap. No out of fuel this time. And 12/31 is today's date. I'm going to hit enter there. And now we have our data source. We're going to say close and apply. And it should be about 6 or 7 laps, I believe. All right, there we go. So another thing I found during yesterday's session is that I have the lap numbers wrong here. The lap number is actually 1 lap plus 1, or whatever lap it is plus 1. So I will need to change that over here as well. And we'll check that out right now. It says that for lap 0, my average throttle percentage was 64.19. And if I pull up SimRacing Telemetry, the great part about SimRacing Telemetry is that it has its own charts and graphs. I can actually check the data out myself using its own charts. And if I go to the table, or what was it, the stats? Average throttle for lap 1 was 64.2. And when I go back to Power BI here, or I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller so we can see it in real time, 64.19 is 64.2. So that means this lap 0 is actually lap 1. Lap 0 is just an index of the data. So in order to get an accurate lap, we actually just need to add 1 to the lap. Let's validate that by going to lap 2 here. If we go to lap 2 and we go to stats on the bottom, we have an average throttle of 69.4. And here it says lap 1 is 69.4. Because SimRacing Telemetry are the folks who are pulling this data, I'm going to trust them and I'm going to correct my data instead. So all I have to do to correct it is just search for lap time or lap number. And to do that, I want to see exactly which column was used for this visual. So all I have to do is click on the visual I want to inspect, and I can see right here, lap number. Because it's checked, I know that's the visual it's using. So what I'm going to do is create a brand new column by right-clicking on the name and saying new column. And then I'm going to say lap number, let's call this actual. Oh, let's try that again. Lap number actual equals lap number plus 1. Just like Excel, all you would do is just add 1. And I'm going to actually put a comment here by holding shift and pressing enter. And I'm going to say actual lap number is lap number plus 1 value. And then close that just so I can have it as a reminder to myself that this is why I created this function. So all I have to do to change all of this is just say, search for lap number over here. And here where it says lap number, I'm just going to replace that value with the lap number actual. Now, it's not actually letting me replace it. It's just using it as a drill down. So I'm going to have to remove the original lap and then call this one lap. By double clicking on it, I can just rename it. So I'm going to do the same thing for all the visuals here. Remove it and then rename this one. Then I'll drag this in, remove it, and rename this one. And same thing down here. Remove it and rename this one. Now I'm going to do that at the very beginning as well, because everything here needs to be replaced. So I'm going to say lap number actual and just call it lap. Same thing here. I'll name this lap number. Oh, I think I deleted too many columns there. Okay, lap number. And see how my grid went from so many laps or 1 record per lap to nothing. And that's because it tried to aggregate it. Power BI said, look, I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and aggregate it for you. That wasn't what I wanted. So I'm going to right click on that column that I just added. I'm going to say don't summarize. And now everything will change back to where I wanted it to be. I'll do the same thing here. Lap. Same thing here as well. lap here. And if I'm unsure about which one I'm using, all I have to do is just click on the visual and the check mark will be next to whichever one it is. So I know I'm using the wrong one for this one. So I'm going to replace that. Did I change it here? No, I did not. So I'm going to change it, remove this one, and double click on this one to rename it lap. How about this one? Yes, it looks like I did change it for that. Okay, so surprise, surprise, we have an issue here. And the issue is that in order to switch between imperial and metric, I had created two versions of the same visuals, one with gallons and Fahrenheit, and the other one with Celsius and liters. So I need to switch over to the Celsius and liters visuals, which are these here that are showing now, and switch over there too. So I'm switching this one to lap number actual. And renaming it lap. And same here. Okay, now this data is kind of boring. Where this data would really shine, especially for a hot lap session, is with times. So we're going to go ahead and focus on times now. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a new page and call that lap times. And what we're going to bring over is the same visuals that we did for the Automobilista ones. But first, I have to see if I can get the actual functions to work. So first, what I'm going to do is take the lap time function that I have, where I converted seconds into milliseconds, and push that over. So here, I'm just going to find the lap time and make sure that that's a number. Right now it's a text. I don't want it to be. I want it to be a decimal number. And let's bring some lap times in. So I'm going to drag this in and it's going to create whatever visual it thinks is best. I want a simple table so that I can inspect it. This is useless to me until I bring in a lap number as well. So I'm going to search for lap number actual, and I'm going to bring that in. It's still useless because it's trying to summarize everything. It's trying to just give me aggregates. What I want is not to summarize the laps, and then also get the maximum lap time. And here we can see that for all of these laps, we have the seconds. Now, I want to turn those into milliseconds so that then I can turn around and turn that into minutes and seconds as a standard time. So what I'm going to do is right click here and say new column. Oh, actually, I don't want to do that. I want a measure instead. The difference is that there's actually so many versions of this and I only want the maximum one. So I'm going to actually create a measure. And I'm going to say lap time max as ms or milliseconds. And I'm going to say that the formula is the maximum of lap time times 1000. And I'll just add a quick note here that says multiply lap time in seconds to millisecond, or by 1000 to get ms for milliseconds. There. Now let's try to see if that makes sense. That's the sum. Don't want that. No, that's the lap number. I also don't want that. I realize I'm searching for the wrong thing, so I'll search for lap time instead. And there we are. Okay, maybe not. What's the problem here? Lap time, max of lap time times 1000. So does that work? No. And why is it yelling at me? Let's see, did I copy the right formula? Let's see what that looks like. the max of lap time times 1000. That's what it's supposed to be. Let's see why that doesn't work. Let's try to see if we can just remove the 1000. Does that work? Nope, still doesn't work. Let's try that again. We'll delete the entire column from model and try to remake it. Okay, so there we are, max of lap time. Is it because I changed the data type over to a value instead? Nope, this is a decimal number here as well. So we have a lap time in decimal. Let me just try to go ahead and copy. Let's try this in seconds. Okay, so this one's in just seconds, which we already have. I'm going to try it again with milliseconds and see if that comes through. Switch over here, create a new measure, and paste that. Just paste the entire formula and then say I want lap time, and it'll replace it with the formula from this data set instead. Okay, so now let's see. Lap time. Oh, now it's called lap time with no underscore. So let's see if it's a valid number here, what it does. Okay, that looks okay. So let's try to add it again to this table. Okay, I'm not sure what went wrong there, but I'm glad we were able to fix it. So now we can see that if we look at it in milliseconds, 92.83 becomes 92,825 milliseconds, and that's really good. That shows that we'll be able to do so. What I did find interesting is that this milliseconds here actually has decimals after, and all of these seem to be 0. Maybe that's just an Assetto Corsa Competizione thing where the data doesn't come through, but I could swear I multiplied it the same exact way. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, so now that we have our max time or lap time max milliseconds, we're also going to borrow the lap time that converts into minutes and seconds. So we'll borrow this formula and then we'll say, I want a new measure. I'll paste that here. And then I will remove. Nope, this is actually exactly what we needed right here. This column to calculate in milliseconds. This should actually work just fine. And you'll note that this formula that's here is actually slightly different from the one that's in this link if you follow it. And the reason for that is, oh sweet, invalid parameter specified. Okay, I guess that link doesn't really work. So let's see if we can try that again. Oh, it borrowed the comment I had there. Okay, so if we look at this site, we'll actually see that the answer is slightly different. That's because they did a return with a calculation embedded in it. I like to do all my calculations before I try to return. So here I just switched, instead of using the calculation in the return, I just did one final step where I created a final value and then I used that in my return instead. I also added an if error. If error is something that I borrow from Excel usually that says, hey, if I wasn't able to do this calculation, instead of pulling like NaN for not a number or 0 or error, it'll just say NA. I can also switch this to something like no time and it'll look a little bit more, I don't know, professional, I guess, or a little bit more to the standard that race teams use or racing metrics use. Okay, so now that we have our lap time here, yes, I'll go ahead and check that. Hopefully that's happy. Now that we have that, what we're going to do is lap time in minutes and seconds. We'll add that here. And there we go. Now it's telling us exactly what our lap times were in minutes, seconds, and even milliseconds. Let's go check this out and see if it matches what SimRacing Telemetry says. So it says that for lap 1 minute 32 and 8:25. I think when I looked at this originally, it was a couple tenths off, and it seems that it's the same thing here. I have 132 and 855 milliseconds. Here I have 825. Here's 645. Here's 597. Thankfully, it stays within a couple tenths. From what I've seen, it stays within a couple tenths. But as we in the racing world know, a couple tenths is everything. So I'm going to try my best to get this to be as accurate as possible. But even SimRacing Telemetry on their website say that you have to use the formula in a specific way to get the true and accurate lap time. So I'm going to try my best in a later session to see if I can get this to work. But for now, we'll just use these and that's okay. Now I want to put some conditional formatting, just like I did in this version. I want to put some conditional formatting that says green when good, red when bad. And to do that, what I'm going to do is click on this lap time MMSS, and I'm going to say conditional formatting for background color. Now what's the problem here? The problem is lap time MMSS is a text column. So how is it supposed to be able to tell when text is good and text is bad? The reality is it can't. But we do have our milliseconds column that we can use for the rules. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open up the field that we want this to be based on, and I'll open up lap time. And here we have the lap time in milliseconds. Now, it's trying to do this whole percent thing where if it's above a certain value, then green or red. No, that's not what we want. What we want is the format style for the rules. We want that to be gradient. We want to add a middle color, and we want to say when it's low or less milliseconds, that's green. So I'll switch over to green here. And you want to use a light green because you want to be able to see the text behind the value. And then here, for the highest value, we want that to be red. But again, a light version of red. And even for the yellow, I want like a slightly faded yellow, like that. So now if I click OK, we should see the values here. They're all basically red. Why? Well, the reason that they're all red is because it sees these as the lowest values. So anything more than a few seconds off of -100 or 159 is going to be really bad. So what we want to do is we want to borrow some filters from our other pages. If you look, there's a filter here that says is lap valid. That's the one you want to borrow. But while I'm here, why don't I just borrow everything just to get the styling right? Well, I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to copy everything on this on the top section here and paste it. I'm not going to sync the visuals. But if you look even here, because this lap was so short and it wasn't a complete lap, it's still saying that this is red. So I'm going to have to find a way to remove this lap 9. And to do that, I'm going to go get the filter that I had on laps. I'm going to copy this and paste it here. I'm not going to sync it. And I'm going to use it to select all the laps except for lap 9. And now we have an accurate representation of what our lap times were and whether or not they were good as compared to the rest. I also want to bring in average brake and average throttle. So I'm going to switch this to average brake percentage, and I'll right click and say average. And it looks like I haven't converted this to a percentage yet, so I'm going to click on brake and I'm going to click on percent here. And now we have our percent. I'm going to do the same thing for throttle. Drag it in, right click to change it to average. And our throttle we already had done that with, so that's already good. So I'm going to change this to AVG throttle %. And let's make things a little bit nicer to read. So lap number, we'll double click on this one and say lap time in seconds. This one will be lap time in milliseconds. And then this one will be just lap time. And we're also going to add a small background to this, make the borders rounded. So we'll click on this visual, we'll go to formatting here, and we'll go to effects in general, change the color to be, how about this one? Nope, let's just go get the color. If you're having trouble matching the colors to your other pages, all you really have to do is go to another page where you used it, you click on a visual that you want to borrow from, and you can either choose the format painter and just paint the format just like any other Microsoft app, or you can go here to the effects here as well, go to more colors. After clicking the color, you go to more colors, and then just copy this E6, this hexadecimal code, and then switch back to your visual and do the same thing, but paste the code instead. What you'll find is interesting is as you attempt to do that, you'll actually see the color in your recent color, so you don't even have to do that step. That's just a little trick. So I'll click there, and now we get the matching colors. I'm also going to turn on the border. I'll set it to be the same color, and I'll set the rounded corners to 10. And there we are. Now we have our table with the lap number, the average brake percentage, average throttle percentage, lap time in seconds, milliseconds, and minutes and seconds. So that's good. But we want to replicate all these other visuals as well in this page. So to do that, we're going to say max throttle percentage and max brake percentage by lap distance. It shouldn't be by lap distance. Oh, actually it should. Why did I choose lap distance? Well, because I wanted to get something similar to what SimRacing Telemetry has here, where it shows throughout the course of a lap how something changed. Here's the RPM, here's the throttle, for example. I want it to be just like this. And the way to do that is by using the lap distance value versus the lap value. If you want just the lap value, it's going to show your max throttle and max brake over the entire lap. And if you're racing correctly, you're probably going to be at 100% throttle at some point, and also 100% brake at some point throughout the lap. So that's not really what we want to show. What we want to show is over the course of a lap, what were your inputs or what were your max throttle percentages. So the way we do that is we bring in the throttle and we just bring it in as a standard visual. It'll create whatever it feels like. We're going to change this to be a line graph. And you can see in the y-axis, the sum of the throttles there. We're going to change that to maximum. And then we're also going to bring in the brake. So we'll search for brake, put it right underneath this throttle, and right click on it to change it to maximum. So now we have max of throttle and max of brake. But how do we get the x-axis to flow? Well, we do that by searching for a value called lap position. Ooh, maybe position? Lap. It looks like Assetto Corsa Competizione doesn't have that. Lap index, lap time, lap distance. Is that the one that we wanted? Lap distance? Maybe I just got the wrong one. Yeah, lap distance. Okay. So we will switch over to our report and we want lap distance. We're going to put that as the x-axis. And now we can see a lot of data here. Am I supposed to not summarize this? What's lap distance doing? Is it supposed to be text? Let's see if this is a number. Yeah, lap distance is supposed to be a decimal number, so I'm going to change lap distance to be a decimal number up here. Yes, I want the data type change. Thank you very much. There we are. Now, it shows us our max throttle and max brake. I'm going to change this to lap distance so it's a bit more readable, and then I'll say max throttle percentage for this one and max brake percentage for this one. And now I want it to be slightly less messy, so I'm going to change the brake to a dotted line, and I'll do so by clicking on the visual, going to the format area, clicking on lines, and changing the colors for brake to red, like a light red, and for throttle I'll change that to green, like a deep green here. You can see the color change on the graph as you go, which is good. But I'm not done. I need to make sure that the line style for the brake is like a dotted or dashed line instead. That's a bit better. So now we see it over the course of basically the entire session. But if I want to see it for just one lap, there it is for just one lap. So this is lap 1. And if we pop open our SimRacing telemetry and go to lap 1, let's see if we can find our throttle. You'll see that our throttle map looks pretty similar. This one's just throttle and not a lot of brake, but you can see how there's little spikes here as well. So we do know that our data is accurate. You can actually see everything kind of looking very similar to this blue and red. So that's pretty cool to see. So we're going to release the filter on that. And here, we're going to add the same visual stylings to this. So we're going to make the, we're going to go to the General tab, go to Effects, add some background, add a border, and make the corners rounded. There we are. Okay. And what was our third one? Lap times, I think. Yes, lap time by lap. So let's do that very quickly. Oh, nope, I just double clicked on there. Okay, so what we want, no, I did it again. I don't want a new visual, thank you. All right, so what we're gonna do is say lap number actual. We're gonna drag that in here. It's gonna change it to whatever we want, whatever it wants, but we want a line chart. And then we also want our lap time. Okay, so here we have a bit of a decision to make. To show the values, I always wanted to get it to show, let's say either milliseconds or seconds. So here the x-axis has to be lap number. So we'll change that to lap number, or just lap. Lap is fine. And then here you can either choose to have it represented in seconds or milliseconds. The reality is folks are probably going to be able to interpret it a lot easier in seconds than milliseconds because they'll have to do less mental math. So that's why I chose lap time and not lap time in milliseconds to represent this. But instead of sum, I want the maximum. So the maximum lap time here, if I hover over, was 92.83 for lap 1. That matches the 92.83 here. But we're not done. What we want to do is we want to be able to easily show this data without having to hover over it. So what I'm going to do is go to the formatting and turn on labels. But even though I turned on the labels, it's not really enough because you'll still have to do some mental math. But what if we could customize the labels to read out whatever we have right here in this column instead? Well, you can do that by going to the data labels section, going to values, and saying custom label. Here is where I will drag in my function that I created with the time in minutes and seconds. I'll drag that here, and now we can see right here our average lap time, or sorry, our maximum lap time, but we can read it a lot easier. We don't have to do any mental math. We can just see this was 132, 129, etc. So that's pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and say this is lap time right here, lap time by lap. We'll change to be the background that we like, which is in the general section, effects. We'll add the visual border as well. After we change the color, there's our recent colors, and then we'll add some rounded corners. We'll change this to be a little bit smaller so that there's a little bit of a gap. And there we are. Oh, looks like I don't have the banner from the other one, so let me copy and paste the banner as well. There's the banner. It looks like it's on top of everything, so I'm going to click View, Selection, and we'll move the banner all the way to the bottom in the layers, and now everything shows up above it. All right, so there we are. We have our data. We have it represented the way we wanted. Here we have our brake temperatures and our tire temperatures. It looks like all that came through, but this first page is kind of boring. So I think I have about 15 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and run a race, and then we'll upload this report, upload the data from that race into this report and see how it looks as well. But it looks like we got some good lap time stuff in here too. So I'm very happy with this page. So let's try to run a race and see if we can get that data as well. I'm gonna save this, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and publish it. I created a new workspace called Data Driven Sim Racing, so I'll publish it there. And again, any page that you're currently on, that's the page that's going to show up when folks open the report. Okay, so we will hop into Edge, and we'll go to our workspaces and Data Driven Sim Racing. And here it is. It even has a little new icon. I'm going to click that to open it. And there we are. There's our new page. All looks pretty good. Yes, yes. And it looks like it's still including lap 9 here, which is not great. It's not a complete lap. Maybe, I hate to get ahead of myself, but I'm wondering if there's like a completed flag? Lap flag. I don't know. What I can say is, like, I could create a yes or no, or is a complete lap, by asking if the distance traveled during that lap equals whatever the distance is. Lap distance. And there's another value. What's the track length? Does the lap distance equal the track length? You think that would work? I have a test area here, so I'll go ahead and use that page instead. So if we say length, track length is always 3602. And can we say that for each lap, lap number actual. I'm not going to summarize this. So I'm going to say don't summarize. For each lap, the track length is always the same, right? It's just one value. But what about the distance traveled? That doesn't look right. That doesn't look right. Is it the maximum? Oh, so that looks pretty close. What I can say is maybe like, and it's gonna have to be something that's like a per session thing or per track thing. I can say that the maximum lap distance that you can do is somewhere around 35.99, and if it's over 35, oh no, it looks like 35.98 is one too. So if it's over 35.90, then it's a complete lap. Let's try that. To do that, what we're going to say is we're going to create a new column. Is it a new column or new measure? Well, let's try it as a column first, and we're going to say is lap completed, and that's going to be equal to if the sum, is it sum? No, if the max of lap distance is greater than 3590, then yes, else no. Does that work? Ooh. I think so. I think so. So let's try it. Let's see if it came through. We'll search for is lap completed. Why is that there? Why is this there? That shouldn't be there, should it? For lap 9, it should say no. If the max distance is greater than 3590. And this one is absolutely not. Let's try it as a measure and see if that same value hits. So we're going to say if lap is, we'll call it is lap completed 2 equals if the max, no, that's already there, so I'll say, no, it should be max of lap distance is greater than 3590, then yes, else no. Does that do anything? Ooh, we got one. Okay, so not as a column, you want it as a measure. So we'll delete the column from the model. It's of no use to us. And of course it went, oh, okay, so I have to remove it from this visual too. And now we can say, no, this is not completed at all. So the question is, can I add it as a filter here? I'll reduce the size of this one a little bit, and then I'll add a slicer, which is right here, and I'll drag this right into that. Oh, can I not have a measure as a slicer? No, it looks like I can't. So I'll have to try to find another way to do that. That was my mistake, thinking I could have a measure as a slicer. But it looks like we can at least show it in the grid. So maybe I'll be able to turn it into a measure at some point. All right, that was fun testing. I'm gonna go ahead and publish the report again. Then we'll do a quick race. We'll update the data, and then I will head out because I'm kind of hungry. Data-driven sim racing. There we are. We're gonna replace this report. And we are all set. We'll refresh this report and see if everything came through okay. And I didn't mess anything up. Yep, looks like we are good. So now let's run a quick race. Let's start collecting some more data. We're gonna go back to SimRacing Telemetry. We're gonna go to ACC, record a new session, and start. We'll switch over to ACC screen and head on in. Switch it over to a race instead. Quick race for 15 minutes. Let's do 60. Oh, nope. Looks like 48 is our max. We'll start at position 11. See if we can work our way up. Maybe if we're careful enough, we can. We'll see how that goes. And then start the session. And let's make sure we load the correct setup. Last time I loaded a qualifying setup for our race, and that was a very bad idea. So we'll load our race setup, load it. Let's check the setup out and see how much fuel I have. 106 liters. Okay, now I'm in a much better state.
15 minutes.
15 minutes. 106 liters. Let's check on that qualifying setup really quick and see how many liters it gives us. So I'm going to load that setup really quick and go.
The track temp is 37. The air temp
7
is
liters.
30
Yep, that's exactly
Celsius.
what happened last time is we just had a qualifying setup for our race and that was not fun. All right, so we'll load the R setup for the race. And we'll go back and let's get our gloves on first. We're going to do a formation lap and then 15 minutes of racing. And then we'll update our report in Power BI, check it out, and be good to go. Okay. Let's see how it goes. Let's start warming everything up. Looks like a slow start to this formation lap. Can't do much warming here. There we go. My favorite way to warm up is actually not doing the weaving, but accelerating fast and braking fast. I find from my motorcycle days that helps a lot more, or it's a lot safer, I guess, because I'm not running the risk of spinning out. So max throttle and max brake usually help me out a lot more. But this looks cooler, I guess, so we'll do that for a little bit. We have our ABS set up. Our traction control is actually really low. It's at traction control 3 out of 11. I think I might have to increase that, but I'm afraid I'll like mess something else up while I'm adjusting that. So there's our ABS. ABS needs to be set back to 4. And where is it? Over here. Oh, that's brake,
Car
nice.
number 30.
I don't know which one it is. I'll try to find it. I'm afraid I'll ruin my race if I try to adjust it now. Okay, let's give it a go here. I don't know if the AI have gotten any better in ACC, but if I remember correctly, this one's just like turn 1 at Spa where everyone bunches into this corner right here. Let's see if they still do it. Yep. At Spa it was even more entertaining because they would actually hit themselves with the corner.
Okay, Andreas, are you ready? Go.
Alright. gonna try to survive this lap instead of attacking. Just try to get through the lap.
Car left. Hold your line. Still there. Clear left.
Tim is leading the race.
I think we might be able to attack a little bit here on this.
Right side.
Sorry,
Clear
sorry.
right.
Let's leave our attacking for another day, I guess.
The track temperature is
Another
falling.
lap.
It's now 30 Celsius.
Ooh. So tempting to try to pass. But it's just costing me lap time.
The track temperature is decreasing. It's now 27 Celsius. Air temp's falling. It's now 27 Celsius.
Oh no. Oh, that was a slip. And the person behind me is taking full advantage of that. They're creeping up right now. So no position changes are going to be kind of boring. We're going to do our best to attack here. Be able to get a slipstream on P11 or P10. I'll just get a slightly tighter line and pass him. Yes. Give it to me. Give me.
On your left. Hold your line.
I'll take it.
Hold your line.
Give me.
Still there. Clear left.
There we are. Lock them out. See if we can keep some momentum.
It's now 1.2 seconds.
That was a lunge.
Now 25 Celsius.
Try not to do that too much. It'll get me in some trouble. As we head into nighttime, track temperatures are going to be cooler, so I'll be able to see that in the data.
The leader's just done it on 28.20. That's a new fastest lap for Caldo Ready on 27.84. 10th position.
And somehow I was able to pull off my fastest lap. My fastest first lap in the middle of a race. So that's proof right there that there is just so much more to extract from this new setup I have from
Okay,
GoSetups.
Andreas, 10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left.
see if we can get a pass in. Bad exit. We'll do our best here to get maybe a little lunge.
The track temperature is falling. It's now 23 Celsius.
Oh, almost got in trouble there.
The leader has just done a 127.90. New fastest lap for Aldo ready. 127.53.
Alright, we're going to try to get ahead of this Audi here.
Air temperature's decreasing. It's now 23 Celsius.
Although it has very nice tail lights, I don't want to see them anymore.
129.60.
We can just keep it together for this lap. I think we should be able to pull off the pass.
Come on, keep pressing it. Force that mistake.
Sure am trying there, but sometimes the mistake I force is my own. Oh, no. And there's everyone. No. I have to wait for a pocket here. Oh man, that's just wonderful. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you ruin a race. In 5
Green
seconds.
flag, you're clear.
Yeah, green flag now, I bet. Alright, 8 minutes left. Can I even get close to P25 or P24? That's just ruined. And now I'm just completely out of my element. Alright, let's see what we can do.
The leader has just done a 127.71. Fastest lap for Aldo ready. 127.42.
That
Okay,
has
Andreas,
been...
that's half distance. Fuel levels are fine.
That's been my problem since I started sim racing, is just keeping the consistency. Especially in a pressured situation like the one I was just in. No, it's just not happening.
The gap to Sard in front is now 8.1.
8 seconds. Oh no. This is basically just hot lap. Well, I was complaining earlier that I didn't have any position changes. Now I got about 12 position changes in one lap, so at least I'll be happy with the data. Here I go again, almost. Oh man. It's just not happening today.
The gap to Sard ahead is now 7.8 seconds.
I'm gaining, just not at the pace that I need to actually make some progress. Now I could quit, but two things. Number one, my trust rating would go down. When you quit races in the middle of the race, your trust level goes down. Not that it's very high to begin with, but I don't want to quit the session for that. And also, this really does make for good data. And I can use it to hot lap.
Okay, Andreas, 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes left.
why not collect the data if I'm already here?
Fastest lap for Old, 127.65.
I do see a car. I'm pretty sure I see a car. Yeah. Okay. Will I be able to salvage something? P24 maybe? 4 minutes left.
That lap was at 128.50. Good lap. That's your quickest today.
And there I go, ruining any chance I had.
The actor Sard ahead is now 6.0.
6 seconds, yeah, that's a lot. I just can't get that corner right. That's the one I messed up on initially.
About track limits.
Yeah, there goes any chance I had of catching up P24.
That's half distance. The fuel's okay.
Bit too aggressive.
Fastest lap for Vervich, 127.00.
So I lost about 4 seconds on that lap. That would mean I'm about 10 seconds behind P24. It's so crazy how just 1 second of one big lapse of judgment just completely destroys your race. Gonna try to chase lap times, I guess. Or maybe just try to finish the race.
That's the new fastest lap for Vervich, 126.94.
Good for them. That sounded salty as I wanted it to them. How exactly do you tell your race engineer to stop telling you fastest lap times for other drivers when you are P25? I'm not sure.
Lap was at 128.70. Sector 1 is 0.9 off the pace.
looks like we got our fastest time. I mean, not that that's going to do anything for our race, but
To go.
at this point, I'm just chasing lap times.
Air and track temps are increasing. Air temperature's now 23. Track temp is now 23 Celsius.
And we lost it. Almost lost it again. This car is just so unforgiving. When you treat it right, it does a lot for you, but the second you just stop paying attention for 1 second, it's over. From what I hear, there's a lot of other cars that are way more forgiving. It's just every time I try to drive with another car that's not this one, I don't know. I just can't do it. I get bored, or I get like, I don't know what it is. Oh wow, what a shame. Let's see what Jim says.
E25. There we go, it's over. Bring it back round.
Hey, okay, at least nothing super demeaning, like what a shame or terrible, let's go home, we'll try to forget about this weekend kind of thing. Maybe he just felt bad for me. Hey look, I can finally catch up to my opponent. Maybe. Hey everyone, yeah, I've been here the whole time. Right after you. Oh, what am I doing? I can just skip out, can't I? Yeah, I can. There we go. Okay. So we are done. I need to save that replay because, wow, that was a bad experience I just had. Let's see. We'll go back. We'll go to the replay. First, I need to see that lap. What happened? Was it lap 2? No. Lap 4. Oh, nighttime I was still doing well. Here. Lap 4. This must have been it right here. Still behind that Audi, chasing, and oh, that's the start finish. There it is, right there. What happened? Yeah, it's the curb. It's always the curb, or at least I'm gonna sit here and blame the curb. It's really always just my driving style. And everyone just goes by. Super. Super. All right. Let's see. No, I'm not sure I want to quit. I do want to save the replay though. There we are. And also save the highlights. I guess you can do that. That's cool. Cool. All right. So we will quit. Yes. Quit. Confirm. And I think we can go ahead and quit the game as well. Okay, so now all we're going to do is just upload our data, make sure it's okay, and then we'll be good. All right, so we're going to open our Power BI report. And we're going to make sure we're opening the one with ACC logo on it. We will save it, save this as a brand new file. So this is a race with the GoSetup. save that. We'll wait for the name to change to race. There it is. And now we're just going to change our data set. So I'll right click, I'll edit the query. Oh, and I need to go save that data set. There it is right here. Here is the race. I'm going to click in there. I see my fastest lap is somewhere around here too, 128. We'll go to the top right and click export to CSV. We'll wait for it to export. There it is. I'm going to find my Laguna Seca sessions, and I'll use this one as the name, but I'll change the hot lap to race. Now we have our data, and I should be able to right click on this, edit the query, go to the source and just change this to race and have our data load. Or not. Let's find out what went wrong. Oh, it's our GoSetup, not standard setup. That's why. GoSetup. And there we are. There's our data. I'm just going to click close and apply. And now everything on the report will change, even the brand new stuff that we did for our lap position and the new lap and lap times. All that stuff changes. We're going to rename this to max gear, min gear, and max gear. And honestly, these are just metrics we probably don't need that much anymore. So we might get rid of them. No pits, as you can see, but we can see exactly when we had our incident. We'll call it an incident. So right here for lap 5, I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, lap 5, I know there was an incident. I'm going to go ahead and add a vertical line to this. And to do that, to this race position by lap graph, because you want to know, like, why the heck was it such a big decrease? Well, I'm going to click on the visual and click the little magnifying glass to analyze. We're going to create a new x-axis constant line, and we're going to add a line, and we'll call it, the value we're going to put is lap 5. And you'll see right here, technically we can say 5.5, and it'll go closer this way. And we can say this, we want it to be, I don't know, gold. No transparency, or low transparency, I would say. So like 15%. And the position is in front. I wish we had a data label for it. Oh, we can. This is where we would put something like the name. Oh, yes. Okay, so we'll switch that to name, and then we'll edit this name to be lap 5 incident. And there we are. We'll change, it looks like we have to change the label to be the same color as well. Yes, there we are. So we'll say lap 5 incident right here. And we want the position to be to the right of it. So we know exactly when we had our lap 5 incident. And we know that that's the reason for the sudden shift in positions from 10th to 25th. And so let's look for other places where we can do that. It doesn't look like it really affects anything else, so I won't really do it for anything else. This was the formation lap. So I'll just select laps 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 I think is just my, it's the final lap. So here we can see my actual lap times for valid laps from lap 2 to lap 11. Lap 5 again is the one where I lost a ton of time, and you can see that right here. I'm going to go ahead and add an average lap time as well here. I don't think it's really needed. It kind of looks ugly, if I'm honest. So I'll just leave that. So yes, we can see that I had a huge spike in laps, but the cool thing about Power BI and the way it allows you to filter is, okay, well, let's call lap 5 a loss. Let me switch over here. Let's call lap 5 a loss. Let's go ahead and remove it. So I can use this slicer to remove that lap. And now I get an even spread of laps for valid laps that I was actually racing in. Here, I think I had another small incident, it seems. And I can even remove that if I want to. The point is there will always be some red because this color here is relative to all the other laps that you have in focus. So technically speaking, most of these laps are fairly close together, except for this one lap here. So hopefully this helped you out. Hopefully this helped you see some metrics that you can collect and some metrics that you can use for your lap time evaluation or your race analysis, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to keep running some hot laps on other courses, but I hope you found this video useful and I hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, Happy New Year.